Amid economic uncertainty and ongoing structural reforms, top CEOs, government officials, and industry leaders in Nigeria gathered at the 2025 Businessday CEO Forum in Lagos to engage in critical conversations about Nigeria's future. The annual event, themed Nigeria from Reform to Recovery, brought together decision-makers from across the public and private sectors to explore solutions to Nigeria's economic challenges and identify pathways for inclusive growth. TV360's Okweyemi Owolsheni has more on this report.
From fuel subsidy removal to foreign exchange unification, Nigeria's bold reforms have sparked widespread debate, and the Businessday CEO Forum offered a platform to discuss Nigeria's reforms over time and the way forward. In his keynote address, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, duly represented, outlined the economic reforms being taken by the government and the target of 18% revenue mobilization and 7% GDP growth by 2027. Also speaking, the Group Chief Strategy Officer at Dangote Industries disclosed plans to expand the 650,000 barrels per day capacity refinery to meet economic demands.
This administration has stopped the recourse to ways and means. It is just not a window we have been accessing, and we're trying to bring greater fiscal discipline. We've been driving up revenues using digitization. We all know about the Tax Act, which Mr. President has assented to, and really recognizing the fact that revenues have to come from that domestic revenue mobilization.
So the Dangote refinery is changing the global flow of petroleum products. If you just consider the fact that, for example, we take about 15 cargoes, which by next year will become 20 of petroleum, of crude oil every month. Historically, those cargoes will have left Nigeria, right? And then they'll go somewhere else, they'll be processed, and then they'll come back. But now those cargoes go from terminals in Nigeria to a refinery in Nigeria. So that is changing the flows of both crude oil and petroleum products and is disrupting the market.
Key players in Nigeria's oil and gas industry called for an urgent review of the Petroleum Industry Act, citing outdated provisions that fail to align with global trends, evolving technology, and current industry challenges.
Over the 20 years we were dilly-dallying, but for whatever it's worth, we now have an act. And I think that act today should be reviewed for current reality. That act doesn't take cognizance of digitalization. That act doesn't recognize AI. And today, as we are sitting here, you can't survive without AI. That act is a bit outdated on arrival. So for me, the revision of that act is the first thing. But in terms of regulatory support, you need to enable the industry. One of the biggest challenges we all face today is not the production, but is how to get the production to point of sale.
As we have the Trump effect, another effect that I've seen us with lower realized prices, it just stands to reason that government's initiative for a cost efficiency target is the right thing to do. Otherwise, you find out that practically all the revenue you generate is just swallowed up in cost. So it's a fantastic idea. It's a step in the right direction. And it's one that we as operators really want to support.
Other stakeholders at the event commended the reforms of the present administration over time, but called for steps to institutionalize them.
Experiencing in Nigeria an unprecedented pace of reform. We're seeing reforms almost in every sector. We're seeing fiscal reforms, monetary reforms, trade reforms all over. So there's a plethora of reforms that are happening, and they're all geared at strengthening the economy, improving domestic resource mobilization, and ensuring that we're building an economy that is fit for the future.
It is not about specific reforms. It's about the context of reform. It's about being effective with reform. It's about reform that creates an inclusive economy so that those who are benefiting are not just a few people at the top, but everybody in Nigeria. It's about accompanying the economic reforms with other reforms in judiciary, reform in health, and in other areas of life.
The 2025 CEO Forum served as both a mirror and map reflecting Nigeria's current realities while charting the road ahead. Experts express optimism at the gains of current reforms and economic stability. Okpeyemi Owusheni, TV360 News, Lagos.